Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in internet land, and welcome to the MMA Show, where we'll be talking all things MMA, mainly focusing on the UFC, as they are the number one promotion in MMA, but we'll look at Bellator, Strikeforce, and other regional promotions. And since we are in this great country of Great Britain, we'll be focusing on the MMA promotion in Britain, which is mainly BAMA, and in Europe as well, as the European fighters. So the first thing to get the show off is to really go through the weekend's big card in the UFC Fight Night 81 in Boston, and looking at the main card, as I said, and the fights that were on that. Well, the only place to really start is the main event, Cruz v Dillashaw. Wow, that's those are the two main words come to mind. But to make it a show, I'll have to articulate it a bit better than that. But what a performance by Cruz. Absolutely amazing. I think it was one fight in 4 years, nearly 4 years, and that fight was 18 months ago. And he showed no signs of ring rust, no fatigue in the championship rounds, 4 and 5, and he looked as good as ever. Amazing, no ring rust and no stamina problems. Looking at TJ, he danced for the first round, maybe the first 1.5 rounds, and you thought, well, this is going to be extremely intriguing, that two similar styles are going to try to outwit each other and obviously outpunch and kick each other, but it looked like TJ got frustrated fairly early on as he swung and missed a few times. Looked a bit sort of unrefined and sort of lacking technique, which is, if you've seen his recent fights, especially defending the belt, he's looked like the consummate technician. But all credit to Cruz, he did make him look bad. And when TJ got frustrated, he was swinging and missing, he was loading up, he was almost plodding, orthodox 45 degrees angle, back foot 90 degrees, and sort of just slightly rocking backwards and forwards and plodding, and that made Cruz look even better. He was still dancing and moving left and right, circling, moving from the hips, in and out, and then popping out, combinations. And I think the biggest factor was that got him the win was the takedowns, where he took him down. Okay, not a lot of damage, granted, but took him down. 20-30 seconds of some sort of control, scramble, and back up. And extremely impressive performance by Cruz. And if he stays fit, well, he's going to be a tough man to beat. Moving on to what's next for each fighter. Cruz, I think the obvious one that stands out for me is Faber. They've obviously got a history, and it is one each on their fight card in their respective records. And I think Faber is with the trash talk, he'll give as good as they get. So that will be an interesting angle, and make it a bit more exciting. Where TJ, fair enough, but he didn't want to engage, and it was all one-sided. So the other option for Cruz, I've read somewhere that he may be looking at DJ Demetrius Johnson, for him to, I presume, come up to bantamweight. I don't think Cruz will go down to flyweight, but I'm not sure about that one, to be honest. Dillashaw, I think an exciting fight would be Thomas Almeida, but Thomas is, I believe, number 6 or 7 in the world, and TJ still probably, he will be number 1, or he's number 1, and will you want to find number 7? Barao is number 2, and Faber is number 3, so Barao won't happen again. Faber, he's there's an interesting angle, ex-student, etc. Took him under his wing, and we all know the backdrop to that story. But you may want to save that for a title fight. But if Cruz stays dominant, will that ever happen? So they may want to jump in around about now, maybe. Number 4 is Rafael Assunção. So that could be an option for Dillashaw to get back up there. And there's always the option of the rematch, but there wasn't really any sort of significant points or events, or the fight wasn't a a massive barn burner or a toe-to-toe classic. Cruz has got his technique and TJ has got his, and Cruz came out top, so all the best to him, and great performance. Moving on to the co-main event, Anthony Pettis versus Eddie Alvarez, and this I expected some fireworks and some toe-to-toe, and it didn't come that way. It didn't happen that way. So perfect game plan by Eddie. Wasn't the most exciting fight, but in his position, he's fighting an elite fighter, and he knew that Pettis has got a wrestling weakness, which Dos Anjos exposed. Funny enough, Gilbert Melendez tried the same thing, but he got submitted. But Eddie roughed him up against the fence, held him there, looked at sort of short strikes, holding him down against the cage, bringing him down, grappling on the floor. Okay, no significant damage, but he was controlling Anthony for certain parts of the fight, which I think led to the frustration that you could see in Pettis' face and his body language. And he looked slow, he looked pedestrian, he was plodding along, and just tried a few fancy kicks, spinning kicks, which weren't effective, and didn't really see part of a plan. They were more about I've got to do something here, and I think the coaches, Duke Rufus, couldn't really get to Pettis to change anything, and Pettis must have felt he couldn't actually do anything during the fight to make something happen. So a bit of a crossroads for Pettis, I think. Maybe Habib, who's coming back, might put him back in the picture for title contention, or maybe Tony Ferguson. That could be a stand-up war, but Tony's got a wrestling base as well, so will they use the same tactics? For Eddie, a good win, but it didn't really stand out. You can't really criticise the guy. He had a strategy. You knew the other guy's weakness, and as part of your game plan, you really should try to do that if you want to win the fight. Again, Eddie could look at Habib, Tony Ferguson. He's already fought Cowboy Cerrone, but he's moving up anyway to welterweight. So an interesting matchup. What muddies the waters a bit for these guys is that Mr. Conor McGregor has come up to lightweight, straight into the title shot. So if he wins, will he go back? Well, he's not left the featherweight division, but I'm sure he'll alternate defending the featherweight and the lightweight. So which would mean them guys waiting around till he comes back to defend the lightweight. And if Dos Anjos wins, then it's depending who Habib fights, he might be the Pettis and Habib could be a number one contenders fight for the next in line for the belt. So interesting scenarios potentially that could come out to play in the lightweight division, and the title could change hands again. You had Ben Henderson, Anthony Pettis, Dos Anjos. So it's changed 3 times in the last 2 to 3 years, and before that you had Ben taking it from Frankie, and so on and so forth. So interesting period in the the lightweight division in the UFC. SRBRadio.com. The third fight from the top was Travis Brown and Matt Mitrione. I don't think this has got any real title, sort of going for the title contention type scenario. I suppose a good win by Travis Brown, but it still has a bit of an asterisk against it with those 2 eye pokes. Accidental. It does happen, but it did mess up Matt Mitrione's vision. I think the second one was quite bad. I think that was a thumb, and he was blinking a lot more, and then Travis threw a beautiful straight left, and that just popped it open. And you saw I think it ended up with a broken orbital and the massive balloon That was a mouse on steroids. That was pretty nasty to look at. So so when Brown did the second eye poke with his thumb, maybe he didn't realise, but he sort of went after Matt Mitrione to finish him, because the referee didn't actually stop it at that point. He had to carry on for another 30 seconds, and then the referee called the doctor in. But as soon as it happened, the referee didn't stop it, and Matt turned away, and Travis went after him. So interesting scenario there, but maybe Travis didn't realise that he actually poked him. But, the heat of battle, that can happen. What's next? Not sure. Travis Brown, does he put him back in the picture? I'm not too sure. Maybe the winner of Ben Rothwell and Josh Barnett, that could be an interesting one. Matt Mitrione, I believe, is coming into free agent status, so is this the last fight in the UFC? We'll wait and see. SRBRadio.com. The fight that started the card was Francisco Trinaldo and Ross Pearson, and you pretty much know what you're going to get with Ross. He's got great footwork, slick movement, and he's got a very good left hook and good straight right. But Francisco Trinaldo, he started off slow. I think Pearson was stalking him down and cutting his angles, and he looked like he got stuck in a couple of parts of the cage, but managed to get out. But Pearson was stalking him down. But rounds 2 and 3, Trinaldo got back into it. He'd done that massive pickup and slam on Ross Pearson. I think it was towards the end of the round. Didn't do much damage, but it was quite impressive. I think that got him that round, maybe. And he obviously won the third round again. So interesting fight. And Ross Pearson, he'll probably stay in the top 10, fighting guys just coming into the top 10 or moving sort of out of the top 10, but no title contender sort of stripes earned there. Francisco Trinaldo, he looked pretty impressive, but I think he'll have to do a bit more than that to get some real traction in that division. But a good win for Trinaldo. Looking at the other fight in the weekend was Cyborg won again in Invicta. Doesn't seem to be that much competition for her in that ladies' promotion, but is it a possibility that the Holly Holm fight could happen? Ronda Rousey coming back and winning? It's still way away. So she's going to have to have a few more fights in Invicta and generate some competition maybe in that particular promotion. But the bigger fights obviously are with the UFC, within the UFC ladies bantamweight division. But the fighting weight has been a sticking point as well. So she's doesn't really want to go to 135. So there's a few hurdles before any major super fight can happen. Looking at so that's a roundup of UFC Fight Night 81 in Boston, Cruz versus Dillashaw. Moving on to Penn, other news now. BJ Penn is coming back. Yes, he's actually coming back out of retirement, and I believe he's training at Jackson Winklejohn MMA in Albuquerque, and he's going to be back in the 145, which is surprising because his last fight at 145 was Frankie Edgar, and he got a bit of a beating for 3 rounds. So it's interesting. 145, the weight cut, and all the connotations that surround that for BJ Penn, but he must be motivated, he must be energized, and he's looking to come back in the 145-pound division. So that should be interesting. And 2 years out has it been for BJ Penn, and he's coming back. So interesting news there. The other piece of news is that Yoel Romero was popped positive for apparently something called designer steroid, whatever that is, and I'm sure they're going to do further tests, and if the A sample and B sample actually work out, then I think under the new rules he's looking at 2 years out of competition. With at his age, I think he's 37, 38, late 30s. Is not a fantastic position to be in, and if he's not fighting competitively, he'll obviously train, or he'll have the opportunity to train, but if you're not training for a fight, you're not going to generate the same intensity. So will it have a lasting effect on his physical capabilities, and obviously will that translate to his mental mindset of being a fighter, and being, really he was there in line for that next title shot, but this throws all that out the window. So that covers the review of UFC Fight Night 81 Boston, Cruz versus Dillashaw. We've covered the main fights on the main card, and looked at some news. So hopefully you found this informative and enjoyable, and we hope you'll tune in next week for the MMA show, and gain some more insight into all things MMA. We thank you and bid you good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in internet land. Thank you.
SRBRadio.com.